All right, new problem, and let's go ahead and handle it like we do every other problem. Let's read that question first. Question sentence. So it says, if this much of the garden is planted with tomatoes, how many acres are planted with tomatoes? Okay, sounds good, sounds good. So when we see here, the way that the question worded itself, it says right over here, let me highlight this. 2/5 of the garden is planted with tomatoes. How many acres is that? So here it says again, I'm going to write this very carefully, very carefully. 2/5 of the garden. Everybody, quick question. How many acres is the garden? How many acres is the garden? We see that the garden is actually given to us right there, and it says a garden is 3/4 of an acre in size. It's 3/4 of an acre in size. Okay, let me highlight that right there. So everybody, I'm going to replace the garden right here. I'm going to replace it with 3/4. So we have 2/5 of 3/4 of an acre. My party people, one little question, one tiny little question. What does the word of, not out of, what does the word of mean in mathematics? Multiplication. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this becomes 2/5. Let me just, separate it. This becomes 2/5 multiplied by 3/4. That's what this turns into. This is a multiplication problem. This does not say, like, hey, if 2/5 of the garden is planted with tomatoes, it doesn't say 2/5 acres is planted with tomatoes. It says 2/5 of the garden. So you are doing 2/5 of whatever this is, which is going to be multiplication. Had they said, and I'm speaking to those who might feel a little confused right now, had the problem said, hey, 2/5 of an acre is planted with tomatoes, then that would be super straightforward. That would be 3/4 minus 2/5, and we would be done. Or the answer would just be 2/5. Because if it quite literally said 2/5 of an acre is planted with tomatoes, well, that's how many acres are planted with tomatoes. That would quite literally be the answer if this was the amount of tomatoes. So that's why it's not going to be addition or subtraction. It's not. This is going to be multiplication strictly because we are saying 2/5 of the garden, and the garden is this size. So it's like saying, hey, if I had 2 of these $10 bills, that's $10 bills times 2. If I said I had 3 of the cartons of milk, I would take however many eggs are in a carton, multiply it by 3. So in this case, everybody, again, this is going to be multiplication. I really need to support that claim before I get started here. And here's how we multiply. To remind you and refresh on the rules for multiplying fractions, remember that we multiply straight forward, just like this. I'll show you another way to do this, but the straightforward way is multiplying straight up. Everybody help me. 2 times 3 is going to give me what? 2 multiplied by 3, that's going to give us 6. And then up next, we have 5 multiplied by 4. Everybody, what is 5 multiplied by 4? Yep, that'll be 20. And then the last thing that we can do here is we can simplify. We can go ahead and simplify nice and easy because we can then divide 2 out of both of these values. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 20 divided by 2 is 10. And there we are. The correct answer is answer choice B. But I want to show you one more way to do this before we move on. So I want to show you the technique of simplifying before you actually multiply. Let me show you here. So let me show you the same arithmetic. We have 2/5 multiplied by 3/4. And everybody, what was that thing that we just did at the end here? Can you say that again? What did we do at the end? Yeah, at the end, we ended up simplifying. Exactly. At the end, we ended up simplifying. Let me show you a neat little trick here when it comes to multiplication with fractions. You can actually simplify before you multiply and still get the same correct answer. Let me actually show you this real quick. So everybody, when we take a look, we see that we have 2 right there and 4 over here. If we have a 2 on the top and a 4 on the bottom, everybody, that means that we can divide the 2 out. And watch me do that. I'm going to divide by 2 up there and down here. Everybody tell me, what's 2 divided by 2? 2 divided by 2, yeah, that's 1. That's actually pretty easy. That's nice. And then over here, what's 4 divided by 2, everybody? 4 divided by 2 ends up giving us 2. I'm going to write everything else where it was. The 5 right here. The 3 right there. Help me out. 1 times 3, that's going to be what? Oh, yeah, that's going to be 3. And then 5 times 2, that's going to be what? Oh, yeah, that's going to be 10. And boom. If we simplify before we multiply the fractions, we can get the same answer with a little less stress because we're not dealing with simplifying big numbers because we've already taken care of the simplification there. So with that said, everybody, there it is. The correct answer is answer choice B. And I hope you enjoyed this solution because it goes over a couple of the different ways that we can get this one done. Let's try this next one out. So as I read this question sentence, I see that it says, what is the volume in cubic feet? Okay, cool. Sounds good. We want to understand what the volume is, which means that we're going to be beholden to some formula. So we need to know what shape. But again, it says volume in cubic feet. And I see that the shape given to us is a rectangular box. So immediately in my head, what's going off is the volume formula being length times width times height. Perfect. So now that we're here, one thing we need to understand is that the volume is required to be in cubic feet. One more time. Again, cubic feet. So what that means is that we need feet multiplied by feet multiplied by feet. The one little issue that I see here is that when we plug in our values, we have 18 inches right there, multiplied by 2 feet for the width, which is correct. And then we also have the height given in feet, 3 feet. Again, it's given to us there and given to us here. We see the word feet clearly stated. So now the problem here is just turning the 18 inches into feet before we get started on the calculation. That's all we have to do. And so to do that, we must understand that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. And so if we want to convert inches to feet, we divide by 12. So here we go. Let's get after it. We will go ahead and do 12 going into 18. 12 goes into 18 once. Subtract the 12 to get 6 left over. We'll go ahead and add a decimal place. Drop that 0. And then we get 12 going into 60, which will end up being 5. And so there's our conversion. Our conversion is going to give us 1.5. 1.5 feet. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and rewrite this as 1.5 feet multiplied by 2 feet multiplied by 3 feet. Let's just go ahead and write feet all 3 times. Let me just get that out of the way and copy it from here. And there. Perfect. So take a look, everyone. We're good to go. Again, the biggest problem was right here, but we ended up resolving it. Now we're set to calculate. So what we'll do is I'll just go for the 1.5 multiplied by 2, or 15 times 2, which is 30, or in this case, 3.0. We'll just go ahead and write that down. And then we have the 3 feet right there. 3 multiplied by 3, my party people, is 9. And there it is. Now that we've converted all of our units into feet, our final answer can properly be written as 9 cubic feet. And there we go, my party people. The correct answer here is answer choice B.